Hello everyone, this is Denver from State Champs eSports. We've got another Atari 2600 edition. Tonight we will be playing Galaxian, and we've got a little twist on the show for this evening. I am being joined by my daughter, Lydiana, who
Hi.
loves playing video games, just not old Atari ones from the early 80s. So I wanted to have her play the game and see how she likes it and give her a little taste of what playing video games was like when I was her age or just a little bit younger. But before we get started, let's go into our sponsors, talk a little bit about them real quick. Up first, as always, is Lawrence Technological University in Southfield, Michigan. Visit their website, ltu.edu, for more information. We've also got Army, Michigan. They've got a great eSports Twitch channel over at U.S. Army eSports, so go check that out. And last and definitely not least is Hungry Howie's Pizza, famous for flavor. They are still open, still looking to provide you with some delicious food for your quarantine time period here. And now let's get into some gameplay. Lydiana, have you ever played Galaxian before?
Well, not like this, but I have played it before, like maybe a day before.
You have played Galaga, which is the sequel to this game. So this game, it's very similar. This is actually the Atari port of Galaxian, and I've got some notes here. Galaxian came out in 1979 and was developed by Namco. That's the same company that created Pac-Man and Space Invaders, and it came out actually before Pac-Man and is considered by most to be the first 3-color or full-color video game. Up till that point, it was a lot of vector outlines, so you had color, but you didn't get the full rainbow, or RGB as they call it. Galaxian was a big hit for Namco, and Midway, which is the company that distributed the game here in the United States. And so, of course, when the Atari 2600 came out, they ported this one over since they had a big hit with Pac-Man. Now, Galaxian was not quite as popular as Pac-Man, but the sequel, Galaga, might be, I wouldn't say as popular, but it's in the ballpark as Pac-Man. That Galaga is probably my favorite all-time arcade game. Now, there is not a Galaga port for the Atari 2600, but when I play the coin-op arcade games here, once we kind of plow through all these Atari games, Galaga will probably be my very first game that I play, just because I spent many an hour playing it as a kid and have played it pretty continuously through till today. Alright, so now that we've got a little bit of the history out of the way, Lydiana, tell me what is your initial reaction to the game?
Well, I mean, it's not bad, but I'm really bad at it.
Well, that's okay. This is your first time playing it, so no one expects you to be clearing all the boards. Is it fun, I guess? Because a lot of times people look at the graphics and the sound, and it's pretty crude and basic. But my thing is, if it's still fun to play, what does it matter?
It's really fun. I mean, it's not like my other games, like I play like Subway Surfers and stuff, but this is actually really fun, and I just my goal here is not to kill all the spaceships. My goal is to not die, because I die really quickly, and that's what my goal is in like every game. Like really, I don't care about completing the level. I just care about not dying, surviving the longest. I guess that's why I like Pac-Man, because that's really about like surviving the longest.
Well, maybe we'll have you come back on, and you can play Pac-Man for the Atari, because that is a very different animal than the arcade version. You've played the arcade version many, many times, but the Atari 2600 version is considered by many to be one of the worst games ever made. So it would be fun to get your reaction to that, because in a lot of ways, the game doesn't even look like the same thing. One more to clear the level.
Come on! Die!
Ooh. Well, you're doing good at not getting shot. Ooh,
yes.
All right.
Oh, this is harder.
Yeah, they're gonna, each level, they're gonna be coming at you faster and faster.
There's 2 of them.
Now let me ask you, is this something that you would play on your own? So if I wasn't forcing you to play this right now, would this be something that you'd be like, ah, what the heck, let's break out the Atari? Okay. Now one of the things that I always loved about Galaga, the sequel to this, is those little spaceships flying down that just passed you. Maybe it's that one, I forget which one. It does that tractor beam and it will pull your ship up, and then you can shoot it and get the side-by-side double shooter going. That is probably my favorite aspect of Galaga. I don't think Galaxian. Ooh, dodge the bullet on that one. I do not believe Galaxian has that same gameplay function.
That you always like that.
Well, because it helps you in those challenging rounds where where it's just all offense and you're just trying to shoot all the ships as they kind of do flybys and they don't fire at you at all. Now the strategy I use for this is I'll go through and try to get like all the bottom layers. Now it looks like you're kind of doing the column up. Yeah.
I feel like I'm doing that because like they have like the ships ready in there, and if you just go like by column, then that column like right there.
Yeah. Now if Lydiana, you probably haven't played a lot of Space Invaders, but it's a very similar concept in that you have like the alien ships kind of slowly advancing across the screen. Now the difference with Space Invaders is that they don't break off and fly down at you, but it's still the same in that you've got a ship that can just move backwards or forwards and back across the screen. And Space Invaders also has those shields that you can use, whereas Galaxian, you're just out on your own. But you can't get stomped the way that Space Invaders if the guys make it all the way down to the bottom of the screen. For my money, this is much more entertaining.
Yeah, I'm so into the game. I was like not listening.
Yeah, that's okay. You don't have to listen. But what I will tell you, and if you watch the shows, any of the previous shows at all, we do what's called a benchmark score, which basically means you've got to top your score or you can't continue. And so you just got 2,300. So if you get to 2300 on this level, or this game, then you can keep playing. If you don't reach 2300 or beat your high score, then I normally turn it off, but since I'm here, if you don't beat your high score, I'll play a game, and we can kind of go back and forth. Now there are some Atari fans that claim the 2600 version is actually better than the arcade game. It's been a long time since I've played Galaxian on the arcade. Like I said, I played Galaga very frequently, and this does not quite stack up to that, but a lot of times with ports, like I mentioned with Pac-Man, the home, ooh, you got lucky on that one. The home version is obviously not as good as the arcade, but this is one of those rare games that, okay, so you got to get another 1,000 to be able to continue. No pressure or anything like that. That was very, very close. Ooh, yeah. Look at that. Alright. Almost to 2300. Oh, so close. Alright. I get to jump in here. I've been anxiously awaiting. Let's see how I do.
I cannot do two shifts at once.
Okay, so now I'm going to do... See, my strategy is I go for that bottom row there. Maybe doing the columns is the better way to go, because then you kind of got it lined up already.
They just come
Yeah.
So
See, I guess I'm... Because I'm used to the Space Invaders model where you kind of have to go by the bottom row because they'll march down and stomp on you. So this game does not have that, so I guess going by the columns is probably the better way to go.
Way faster than I.
Well, that's because this is very similar to Galaga, which, as I stated, I am kind of, I don't want to say I'm a master at it, but I've played that game more than probably any other video game, and so this is very similar. And so it's actually a little bit easier, which I guess makes sense, because you don't want the sequel to be easier than the original. You want it to get a little bit more complicated and difficult. Yeah, so usually when it's 3, I try to just pick off one and then stay out of the way. You divide and conquer. Alright, so now here's the real test. Would you recommend this to a friend? So if a friend was like, hey, let's play some video games, would you say, well, what about Galaxian for the Atari 2600?
Well, I guess it kind of depends on the person, but if they like kind of like games like where you like shoot things and stuff, then yeah. I feel like you just have to like shoot things. So I mean, I'm not that good at it, but it's fun to do, so that's why I do it. So if my friend likes to play games like where you try to kill the other person or shoot people, then yes, I would.
Would you like to play one more round?
No, I'm okay, thank you.
Alright, well I guess that's it, folks. This has been Denver and Lydiana here for State Champs eSports Atari 2600 edition. We played a little Galaxian. Thanks for watching, and before I go, got to thank our sponsors, Lawrence Tech, Army Michigan, and Hungry Howie's Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.